Hello and welcome back. It's day 196 and I did a peripheral excavation to prove that the soil is too dry. I didn't want to dig too close to the base of the stem, knowing there could be roots there. The last thing I want in this precarious situation is to break some of those precious roots, although in my experience from the past it seems like there's only a taproot going pretty far down. So perhaps there wasn't that risk of breaking lateral roots that are fine. Not quite familiar and experienced enough with mango growing to know what the root system looks like in the seedling years up to the sapling years. So I'm just going to put this back. It's noteworthy that that wild California hill dirt congeals with the top and forms plates like what I just showed you. And by doing this, I've caused a minimal disturbance, but it looks very dry. Just from the coloration alone, it is a little dark, but I can't feel any wetness. By lifting the pot and later out of sight of the camera, lifting with both hands, I discovered that the pot was nearly bone dry, much like these other two pots from recently terminated plant growing series. I forgot at the moment which two plant series those were from, but those pots were very dry as well. I dug in there a little bit. So I'm doing this watering regimen. Last time, at the end of the last episode, if you'll remember, I used a squirt bottle to add some distilled water at the base of the stem. And that's a very small trickle, about 100 to maybe up to 200, probably just 100 mLs of water. And that seemed to have produced somewhat of a response. I saw some new development in the buds. I know all of these leaves are goners. So knowing that the soil mass is very dry, just a few days after the last episode, the end of it, I'm doing this watering routine. I don't want to soak the entire soil mass. I just want to keep watering directly where it is, around the general area of the base of the stem. And that way, if there's excess moisture, it should be absorbed by the rest of the soil mass that's dry, far away from the plant where I was excavating basically. So I doubt that in this first watering I'll soak the entire soil mass. Should take a while. So it's day 200. There are new bud developments at these nodes, so that gives me some hope. They look pretty nice. So I'm thinking at any moment now there's going to be new growth, new leaves, and maybe even new stems eventually shooting out. That one looks promising. It's a little low on the stem, but any help would be welcome at this point. If these 4 or 5 buds grow into new leaves, I'd be ecstatic. But it's taking a long time, and I'm hoping that the watering will help because I really don't have any other clues at this point. I don't have anything to go off of. Many people have offered conflicting advice or different advice. So in the meantime, I'm just going to prune off these dead leaves. They're very unsightly, and basically that'll make things a little bit more aesthetic, get more sunlight to the stem where the buds are growing directly on those nodes, right above the dead petioles, or soon to be completely stiff and dried out petioles. So that's really all I can do for the time being to improve the aesthetics and get a little bit more sunlight to the stem. It's day 209. I'm going to continue doing what I was doing, which is not much, just watering twice a month or once every 2 weeks about. So these buds look like they're coming along nicely. I expect leaves to come out anytime, any day now, but it is winter in 2018. So the weather is cold still, and the days are very short. This balcony receives maybe only 2 hours of direct sun a day. Not much at all. It looks completely charred up there, and as you can see, there's a little bit of a cobweb situation. I didn't see the spider, but that's generally not a good sign because it means that there are bugs infesting your plant, and I can't even see what it's being infested with. It just looks completely charred up there, which one viewer said may be due to this plant receiving too much sunlight. but it's winter, as I said, and it receives maybe only 2 hours a day tops of mid-afternoon indirect sun. Well, no, it's direct sun, it's just angled. So the soil is looking very dry again. I'm going to go ahead and water. The stem still looks pretty healthy. It's a nice green, except for the very top. So I'm just going to do this again. I did water a little bit at the far edge, but as you can see, I'm just going to mostly water at the base of the stem and just let it soak all the way to the bottom. I'm not going to fill up the watering tray of this self-watering pot. I'm just going to keep watering until I see a little bit of water drip out into that tray, so I can show you later, and then I'll stop. So that's basically what I'm going to be doing once every 2 weeks. And I'm reflecting natural light in there using a mirror. As you can see, it's not full. It has a little bit of water there, along with particles of potting mix that have fallen through. So that's it, and the soil will stay wet for quite a while. So I'm just going to reorient that and give you a different look to show that there's no water accumulating in there, and the soil mass will dry out over the next 2 weeks until I water again. I'm hoping that this is neither too little nor too much water. So it's day 220, and this revival is taking forever. It just doesn't seem to be doing anything at all. I know it's cold, it's winter, this isn't receiving much sunlight, but enough is enough. I thought this would have had nascent developing leaves of at least some visible size, but they're just buds. That's all I see, buds, buds, buds that don't do anything, and the top looks like it's been burned with a Bunsen burner or cigarette lighter. So that's basically it. This may have been the third watering, and by day 239, I had to admit to myself that it looks like this series is over. That bud looks like it still may do something, but the top has definitely burned to a red crisp. Kind of an interesting way to burn up. Usually plants just turn brown, or maybe some kind of shade of yellow. And by day 242, it's time to just move on, because it's been so long. And as you can see, it's hollow in there. So I'm going to dig in there and pull out the taproot. And for those little plants in there, I have a new plant series that's ongoing, and hopefully that'll be a nice new first episode to add to my channel pretty soon, in maybe April, when I have enough footage collected. So it's kind of hard to reach down there and find a good spot of leverage or traction to pull that out. The taproot is pretty tough for these plants. It goes in all the way to the bottom. So first I had to dig away some of that other soil without disturbing the developing seedlings from my upcoming plant series. And with a little bit of effort, I managed to yank that taproot, or what was left of it, out. I'm sure when the plant was healthy, it was a lot bigger, and I'll just put everything back. So that's a minimal disturbance. I'm pretty glad, actually. I was worried that by pulling that hard, I was going to turn everything inside out, and then that would disturb the seedlings you see nearby. So let me just dust that off, and I'll show you in depth what these look like. So we have the root system and the shoot system. The taproot doesn't really seem to exhibit any lateral roots, fine roots coming off of it. Maybe everything brought it away. And this is the base of the shoot system. It looks hollow there. Looks like everything brought it away. So I'm not really the expert here. Most of my viewers are much more experienced. Maybe some of you in the comments can tell me what you think of the situation. In any case, I think it's better to let the viewers decide what really happened, because I'm not experienced enough, and it's not really conclusive. It's just a one-off. I did start with 4 seedlings, but 3 of them quickly died in this series, and the taproot doesn't really seem to have bugs on it or anything. It seems like maybe some fine roots came off it, but they look very dry and shriveled. So whether this plant died from dehydration or bugs or some kind of infection, I don't know. But I will say that The ease by which the root system snaps shows that it died first. The cause is unknown, but the root system, having died 2 to 3 months ago, would have definitely killed off the shoot system eventually. It cannot regenerate new leaves because of that. As you can see, there are juices inside. So thanks for watching my mango growing series. Due to the massive popularity of this series, I'll try again at some point. Thanks for watching, and please stay tuned to my YouTube channel.